Recording in progress.
So welcome everyone. This is Good morning. This is our strength and conditioning class. I am Coach Julio. If you're having technical difficulties, hopefully your internet gets a little bit better. My apologies for that. Hopefully it's not on my end. But in case it gets too choppy and it's just not worth it, I'll always post the recordings. So just keep that in mind. You can always do these later. We'll start with the warm-up. Okay, then we'll follow through a workout, and then we'll go with the cool down. So we'll go ahead and do a series of exercises twice before we move on to the next series. And before we even get to that, make sure that all of you that are on here, or even if you're watching the recording, that you go back and watch the pre-assessment video. This was our first video recording. I did upload or update the spreadsheet. If you go to the front page of our Canvas page, you'll see the spreadsheet with information of exercises and results. So if you don't see your name there, then that probably means you haven't submitted your results to me. So make sure that you reach out, you complete that video, record your numbers, and then send me that information so we could put them on the spreadsheet, and then we could also improve on those numbers as the term progresses. Okay, so remember, this is an 8-week course. This is week number 2. So already crazy. This is, on paper, we're about a quarter of the session of the term through. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin with our warm-up. So we'll start with left to right. Just looking left to right here with our neck. Morning, Mr. Ahmed. I'll try to pick some movements that are a little bit more on the demanding side this morning. So, or not demanding, but multitasking. So multiple muscle groups at once, up and down. Up and down. Neck circles. So do some neck circles. See more folks logging in. So again, if you haven't done the pre-assessment video, which was what we did last week, that recording is up. Make sure you go through that and send me your results from the assessment. Switch. After this class, if you are in my next class, we have our restorative mobility class where we'll be stretching through. Let's go, Snow Angels. So good news, I see enrollment has improved in all of our classes here. So we had a few more people enroll as well. Morning, Lisa. So again, I believe we have a few more weeks where enrollment is allowed. So you could add any classes that you wish. Bring that right arm across. Bring that left arm across. Let's go ahead and do our trunk rotation. So just gently left to right. Ab circles, so hinge at the hip, come across, pump, pump. Let's go with big hula hoops, big giant hip circles. Yeah, so when I went to the hospital, the doctor just told me, hey, I know usually folks are told to take ibuprofen to reduce the swelling and all of that stuff switch. But he encouraged me to try to avoid taking the ibuprofen the first few days. He said the first 2 to 3 days you want that swelling to be there. You know, it's especially it feels like a dramatic, impactful moment that caused the injury. Let's go ahead and do our right quad stretch, and then we'll go from there. So he just told me take ibuprofen, not Tylenol, not Motrin, ibuprofen if the pain is just ridiculous. But if you can manage through the pain, he was like pretty much saying I prefer if you just let the swelling do its job. That's the natural. Oh, I'm gonna try to do this. I couldn't do this a few days ago, but hey, it's improvement. So I for sure couldn't do this 3 days ago. So he was just like, it's part of the healing process. Let the swelling happen, and then ice. He offered me a boot if I wanted to wear a boot. I said no, and he was happy with my response. He said, okay, good, because if you wear that boot, sure, it might feel a little bit safer, but you're also going to lose mobility on that ankle. And if you lose mobility, that ankle is going to get very stiff. And I had a 6-hour drive to do 2 days later, so I couldn't. I had to make sure that ankle didn't get stiff. So I opted not to do that. So, okay. Anyways, outside of that, we are ready for our workout. So this morning we have like programming my workouts in here. We have supersets, okay? So I am gonna ask you to get your dumbbells if you have a chair nearby, and then also your yoga mat. Have some water as well. If you have a towel for some sweat, we'll do that. So we're gonna go ahead, and our first one's gonna be our dumbbell neutral grip shoulder press. Okay, so we're gonna go here, dumbbells at our side, press up, back down, thumbs make contact, or your dumbbells make contact with your shoulder, up, down. We're gonna do 8 to 12 of those, okay? And then we're gonna do good morning. So good morning, we're here, slight bend at the knees, we're gonna hinge at the hips, hold your weight, come down and up, okay? So, all right, so my question to you all is I have about 5 or 6 different supersets. Do we wanna do each superset once, or do we wanna repeat? So, I'll let the folks that unmute themselves decide. So if you want to unmute yourself and decide, let me know.
My preference is consecutives, not repeat.
Okay.
But that's my preference.
Okay. Does anyone else want to battle Carmen for supremacy?
No. Whatever Carmen say.
Okay, whatever Carmen. Okay. Carmen's victorious today. All right, so we'll go with that. So we'll just go through a series of let's try next week. Next week we'll repeat. Okay? Does that sound okay? Alrighty. So let's go ahead, grab our dumbbells. We're gonna go with our standing shoulder press here. So remember, those dumbbells aren't directly to our side; they're slightly angled. 8 to 12. So remember, exhale. Inhale. Okay, we're doing 8 to 12. Ready and begin. So count at your own pace. Well, count for yourself, but try to follow the same pace that I have, okay? 2. So exhale, inhale. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Very good. All right, 30 seconds rest. We have our good mornings next. We'll go ahead and open this window. This door, get a little bit of a breeze in here. And turn on my fan, get another little bit of a breeze. I'm not looking forward to my 2 o'clock class. It's only a stretching class, but it's gonna feel like a hot yoga in here. Has anyone practiced hot yoga before? Alright, grab those dumbbells or dumbbell. And remember, we hold right here across our chest. Feet close together. Hinge at the hip and back is straight. 1. Same pace as me. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. I'm gonna go for 12. And I'm doing 12 because we're only doing one of each set. 11. And 12. Awesome. Very good. Alright, 30 seconds rest. Moving on quickly with these. Alright, we have reverse curls. So we have our dumbbells here. And we're going to reverse them up. We don't want to turn too wide. We're going to keep those right in front of us. So usually for this one, I'll wrap all my fingers in front of the same side of the handle of the dumbbell. So we keep them straight. That's our first movement. And then we have a kettle or a goblet lateral lunge. So that's going to be here. Step right, drop the hip, reset, and do the other side, okay? We'll start in about 15 seconds. Just gonna check the chat, make sure I don't miss anything. All right. Is internet getting better for everyone? Hopefully. All right, reverse curl. Okay, so again, this is how I usually grip. So I put both hands or all fingers on the same side. Okay, I'm here and then I bring them up and then directly down. So exhale, inhale. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Morning, Jan. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Going for 12 for today. 11 and 12. Very good. Oof. This is the most workout movements I've done since Wednesday afternoon. So feels good. It's crazy. I was thinking about how in the past when I was injured or would get initially injured and I would be really upset. I'd be sad, I'd be mad, I'd just be upset. And I always felt like that initial few days dragged out a little bit longer. And it almost seems like, you know, you're stressed, your body's a little bit more tense, so your body's recovering a little bit slower. But this time around, like I feel like a more severe injury, and I'm trying to be a little bit more passive and relaxed about it. And I feel I'm seeing improvement every day, which is crazy. So I'm trying not to get no shame on your name, Debbie, but I'm trying to be not to be a Debbie Downer. So just we're gonna go with our lateral lunges. I never liked that, Debbie Downer. Debbie, did you always get messed around with that? Let's do our lateral lunges. 1, 6 on each side. 2. Wait, we gotta find.
Don't take it personally.
Okay, good. We gotta find a different name. Josefina something. Just kidding, Josefina. So 3, let's do 6 on each side. Negative, we don't have any Nancy's in here. Negative Nancy's. So you can drop those hips, keep your torso upright. And last one. Very good. That was movement number 4. We'll move on. So again, another 30 seconds. All right. All right, our next one, we're actually gonna be on the floor. Okay, so let's get our yoga mat. We're gonna be doing sit-ups right now. So our sliding sit-ups. So set up your yoga mat. We have sit-ups and side planks, okay? Sit-ups and side planks. So we'll start with our sit-ups. It's gonna be for time, 40 seconds. Alright, so we're here. Remember, hands on our lap. We slide our hands towards our knees and back. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Halfway there. Keep it going. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time. All right. Side planks. Dan could just do this one on my left side. I don't want to put too much pressure on my right leg. All right, so side plank, we're on our side. Remember, you could just use your elbow and your knee, or if you're a little bit stronger on that core area, your feet and your elbow, okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Charisse, I just saw your text about the red light device. So actually, I think around 11:30, my school's athletic trainers offered to use some laser treatment on me today. So I'm not sure what type of, if it's red light or a different type of therapy, but I'll be using some laser stuff. Hopefully it helps me a little bit. 10 more seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're gonna switch sides. I'm gonna just do a regular plank for myself because I feel like if I rest my body weight on that right leg, it's gonna irritate it. So you folks go for the right leg. I'm gonna go for a regular plank, okay? We'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down. Okay? Very good. Whew. Okay, what's next? We're gonna go with donkey kicks, okay? We'll just take advantage that we're here on the floor right now. We're going with donkey kicks. So if you folks remember donkey kicks, we're here and it's foot towards the sky. Okay, we're gonna do 12 on each leg. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So right leg first, up towards the ceiling, all the way up. Squeeze the glutes a little bit, come back down. Do 12 on each leg. We're gonna switch. Right, when you're ready, let's go ahead and switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Very good. We're gonna do push-ups pretty soon, but before we do that, I do want to give the arms a little bit of rest, so we'll do Jane Fonda's right now, okay? So Jane Fonda's, we're on our side, and we're gonna go up and down, also doing 12 on each leg. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So up and down. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Alright, we're gonna switch. Just remember 12 on each side. Ready? And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Woo, this one's hard for me right now. 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right. We're gonna go ahead and do push-ups so we could get close to that push-up position fairly soon. Whew. Yeah, we're moving fairly quickly, so don't be surprised if your heart rate's a little bit high right now. Is anyone heart rate pumping pretty good? I know mine is. I see some thumbs up. All right, I'm not alone. All right, ready? Push-ups. So again, you can do knee-assisted push-ups or traditional push-ups, okay? So your call. Ready? And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Good work. All right, little water break. Grab some water. Whew. Some water. All right. So we have about 4 or 5 more movements. Okay, we have tricep kickback, so that's where we're here. You could be supporting yourself with the counter, elbows back, and fully extend. Okay, that's for your tricep. We'll be doing that one next. And then we'll superset that with an underhand front raise. So that's dumbbells here, and we raise underhand. That's for your chest. Okay. Folks ready? So again, we're here. And begin. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We're gonna switch and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Very good. Cool. We're gonna go with the front raises right now. All right, underhand front raises. Ready? And begin. So up here and wide. So narrow, wide, narrow, wide. So remember, we're coming here. And it's just straight forward. So underhand grip. Oof. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right. So for all my folks that on their personal goals put improve fitness or weight loss in there, I'm gonna ask you folks to give me 45 seconds of jumping jacks right now, okay? So we'll start in about 15 seconds. So I'm not doing these, but if you are okay with skipping these because you're out of breath right now, this is okay. This one's, I guess, optional, but if you have intentions to improve your fitness or weight loss, then I recommend you do these. 3, 2, 1, go. So remember, you could jumping jacks or side step jacks. Side step jacks would be here, or you could do regular jumping jacks. All right, go ahead. 45 seconds. 15 more seconds. We're at 30 seconds right now. Three, two, one, time. All right, and we have our last two, okay? So we have our Poliquin lateral raises. That's gonna be hammer curl, elbows up, extend. We're doing 8 of these. And then we're gonna do RDLs, okay? So RDLs, we're gonna go ahead, dumbbells here right in front of us, slight bend at the knees, sliding the dumbbells down and up, working on our hamstrings, okay? All right, Poliquin lateral raises. If you're with me on the next class, we'll do plenty of stretching there. Otherwise, for my folks that aren't coming back, I'd like for you to maybe do a short walk and then some stretches, okay? Ready, and begin. So here, up, extend. 1, curl, up, extend. 2, curl, up, extend. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Put those down, a little bit of rest, and go into our last one right now. And then on Wednesday we'll get a more solid lifting session, and we'll repeat each superset. Okay. All right, RDLs, grab those weights. Slight bend at the knees. Dumbbells are making contact with your thighs, and they continue to make contact as long as they keep going right above your ankles. Then you come back up slowly, and that's 1. Okay, we're doing 8 of these. So repeat. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. All right, if you're gonna do 10, go for it. I'm not stopping you. Alrighty. Alright, folks. So I need to do the upload for the recordings right now before we move on. But good work. If you're coming back to me in a few minutes, then I'll see you for our next class. But if you're not, then I'll see you on Wednesday. So we are meeting this Wednesday. It's just last week. So any questions before we sign out right now?
No, thank you, Tulio.
All right,
Thank
folks.
you.
Thank
See you
you.
next
All right.
one.
Sounds good. All right,
Thanks,
folks.
Tulio.
Bye, everyone.
See you in the next one, Tulio.